everybody. In today's video, I'm going to do something special. I am going to be flipping through every page of the Earthbound Players Guide. This Players Guide was originally released by Nintendo in 1995. The only way you could get this Players Guide is if you actually got the Earthbound game, not separately, which costed 80 bucks back in 1995. Fortunately, it was later discounted to a measly $5.99, so it was extremely cheap. Now, this is a huge collector's item and is worth around $200 today alone. Earthbound, side note, is one of the most expensive games on the Super Nintendo now. So to give you some information, Earthbound is the second game in the Mother series. It was released in Japan as Mother 2, Gygus Strikes Back in 1994, and it did extremely well there. It sold around 500,000 copies. When it came time to release it in America in 1995, the Virtual Boy and the Nintendo Ultra 64 were on its way, making this game it had an extremely low print run. Not to mention that, but also the RPGs weren't as popular in 1995 as they were now. Sure, you had classics for the Super Nintendo. You had like Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger, which actually came out the same year, but those didn't sell well back then. So Earthbound sold poorly due to its abysmal marketing campaign, and it's a shame too because it's one of the best video games ever made in my opinion. So here are your characters. You got Ness. He is basically your all-rounded character. He can use PSI, and basically he is the character that you want to, you're most likely going to use the most, because he's the main character. He's also in Smash. Paula, who is basically, I'm not going to spoil the ending to this game, but pretty much she is the character you're going to want to keep alive the most, because she is extremely useful. Jeff is basically the I know what I'm doing character. He can't use PSI, which is this game's equivalent of magic. Fortunately, I think he's he's the weakest party member, but he can fire multi-bottle rockets, which just blast off enemies. And Pooh, yes, that's his name, Pooh. There's a screenshot that literally spoils one of the endings, or the end. But Pooh is basically your healer. He's basically the most disappointing character in the game because they hype it up like he's going to be, the coolest character when really he has the worst name and not that much PP. He barely has PP, I think. But yeah. Oof. Pooh. Oof. So, to give you some more information about the Mother series, there's a list of names, by the way, the don't care options. The original name from, well, not original name, my bad. The first Mother game was originally for the Famicom in 1989. If you didn't know, Mother 1 was supposed to come out here in America as Earthbound. They actually completed it, but by the time they released it, the Super Nintendo had just hit store shelves, and I believe Nintendo was afraid that the game would not sell well. And there was also it also had a ton of Japanese culture that made the game just feel weird in comparison. And also, Earthbound would have been released around the same time other NES games that barely got any attention, like Little Samson and Panic Restaurant did. So they never released it. In 1998, a ROM, or not really the ROM, but the cartridge, was found on eBay well, not eBay, my bad, I'm sorry. This will sound like I'm spreading a bunch of lies, but no. It was found at a garage sale, and it was sold to someone for around $5. And if I recall correctly, it was the actual Earthbound prototype cartridge. So they dumped it and named it Earthbound Zero. Of course, eventually was released as Earthbound Beginnings. I like that art. So, sorry for the glare, by the way. That's the sunroof. This phone looks green as hell. I'm sorry. But it's the closest thing you're going to get to see it in person. But, of course, we all know the real sequel to Earthbound was Mother 3, which, if you guys didn't know, is where Lucas is from. It never came out in America, unfortunately, and it's a dang shame too, because it's, in my opinion, one of the best video games ever made. It's such a gorgeous game that you really need to play it. There is a fan translation out there. Here's on it, one of my favorite locations. I love the music in this. One notable thing to know about Earthbound is that it can be extremely tough at times, so much to the point where you almost don't want to play it, but trust me, it gets better. It is truly a magical game. I almost said magical chase. You know, a lot of people say that Earthbound isn't worth the asking price of $200 for the cart. But there are reproduction carts on eBay that are worth like, what, 20 to 50 bucks. And it is on the Wii U console and the Super Nintendo Classic for like, I forgot how much the Super Nintendo Classic is worth like on eBay, like 170. There's Paula. Tucson, I don't know how you pronounce it. I kind of like the music too. But, there's a lot of expensive and rare games that ain't worth jack crap, like, Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut on the Nintendo 64. You should only get that game if you're a hardcore collector. Or Stadium Events, that game's awful. The only reason people spend like $100 grand, and yes, you heard that right, people spend $100 grand for video games. But Earthbound is truly worth it. If you can find it at a good deal, please don't pass it up, because it is one of the best games on the system. And Earthbound is one of those games where it's hard to get into because it can be, depending on how you put it, it can either be cringy or funny. Some people will say, oh, the game is super ridiculous and funny, but others will say the game is just plain annoying and it tries to fill you in with charm when really it's trying to be stupid and cringy. I just feel like it's filling you with charm. There's the second location. I forgot to mention that you have to record 8 melodies in order to in order to beat the game. The thing is, though, the game is like, oh god. Here's 3. This is, in my opinion, the hardest part of the game, because you can't go back to On It, you can't go to Forsyth or Tucson. You're stuck here. This is one of the hardest locations in the game. There are so many parts in this game where I got stuck, you know, and I had to reset my console. You have to defeat an evil circus tent. You defeat the evil circus tent, okay? You go defeat Master Belch, who is one of the hardest bosses in the game. Well, not really the hardest. There's another hard boss. There's Shroom. Yeah, there's Winters. Bubble Monkey. Saturn Valley. What I wanted to show, here's Belch's base, by the way. Puppy, so cute. Yeah, you fight a pile of puke. But the thing that is well known about this location is that it has probably the toughest boss in the entire game. This boss, in my opinion, is tougher than Boom Boom. I'm not gonna say his name because he's so difficult. That boss will be the Trillionage. I probably butchered that name. Trillionage Sprout. It looks like a pile of poopy, doesn't it? It is extremely powerful, and he's just one of the toughest bosses in the game. I almost actually quit playing the game because of him, but thank God. Forsyth Post. Yeah, I really like this location. It's such a good location. You also get the, whatchamacallit, oh, the Mole's Return. Where is it? I'm gonna give you a good look. Boneside. One of the best locations in the entire game. Playground of Doom. That was the 5th. I love the Monkey Maze right here. It's so tough and challenging. I had a lot of trouble on this boss. It's just me. Also, a good tip is that you can beat, well, there's sure. You can beat I recommend you beat Playground of Doom after you get Pooh in your party, because it can be really tough when you don't have him. There's the Kraken. I love that picture. Summer is probably my favorite location in the game. Such a good place. Too bad you're barely in here. Well, you're barely here. You spent like a ton of time in... You see, look at that. Look at that. You spent a ton of time in, Forsyth, and when you get here, like, you're only here for like 10 minutes. You just go to Forsyth. There's the Kraken. The Kraken. Beat Thunder and Storm. Yeah. There's the... By the way, I forgot to mention... There's a part in the game where you go into this thing right here, the Sphinx. Once you exit it, actually, Pooh leaves your party, and he's gone from your party for, like, how long? Like, 2 hours? It's extremely annoying because fights can be, like, incredibly tough without him. But yeah, he's not... without him for like too long. Manly Fish. Deep Darkness, one of the weakest locations. You're barely here, too. Master Belch Returns. We only got a few pages left, actually. Yeah, would you believe I already covered half the book? Stonehenge Base, one of the toughest places in the game. Funny story, I actually got my Sword of Kings on my first Superstar, man. I feel incredibly bad for those people who try to grind just to get the Sword of Kings. Trust me, it's not worth it, to be honest. All it really does is just increases offense. It's not that good of a weapon. You're better off just alone. Like, it's just... Electrospectre. I thought this boss was going to be hard, but I actually beat him on my first time. Lost Underworld. Some of these locations are just so bizarre. But that's what makes the game charm. Wetnosaur. Yeah, there's the strangest enemy in the game, by the way. Fire Spring. Carbon and Diamond Dog. And then look, you're a Magican. Oh my god. Sea of Eden. Extremely easy, to be honest. Zexonite, Saturn Valley. Once you get all that stuff, you go to the past, you beat Gygus, and then boom, the game's over. There's all the items. It's not good enough, Gordon Ramsay style. Yada yada yada. And here it is. That smells like mustard, mushroom, deodorant, bananas, burnt rubber, or like freaking flaming peppers, This was pizza. You actually, if you send a Nintendo or pizza, you got a free another air freshener. That's like $400. And there it is. Thank you for watching.